Right, how's it going, everybody? Today we are going to be talking about Senku, the main character of Dr. Stone. Now, this is like the third I've recorded about this trilogy of discussing Dr. Stone characters, in my opinion, on the series. I just wanted to say, right, I usually with the last two videos I did on the Dr. Stone characters, I pick one trait they have and focus in on why that proves or shows the author's point of trying to prove through his theme of the story the greatness of humanity, or the how impressive and awe-inspiring humanity is as a species. But it's hard for me to do it with one trait with this main character, because there's so many things that this main character covers. He covers the negatives of humanity, he covers the positives of humanity, he covers the idea of our knowledge, he covers the idea of succession, he covers so many topics through Senku as a character that there's a lot to say about it. And I don't know, I wasn't planning to do a big video because I wanted to cut things into little pieces, but there is quite a bit to say about Senku. We're going to start with the main concept, right? Which is humanity's knowledge, right? The work they've put in to the work humanity has put in to get to the point they are right now, and how our creativity and intelligence and cooperation has helped us do that through Senku, right? The author portrayed this through Senku. Senku was the very first person to be revived, and through humanity's knowledge, he was able to, build a house and all that, build a tree to survive or whatever. But we see straight away is that he can't do much. He's very on his own, right? So we immediately are shown that, like, humanity has great knowledge and we can do so much with it. Even people who know everything about the previous era can't do much without help. So slowly, Senku builds up a group of people to help him out, which shows the cooperation theme that is very heavily shoved down the throats of readers of the shonen genre. I say that in a bad way. It's actually one of the better themes that Shonen Jump covers, which is like the idea of cooperating, which seems to be a very foreign concept in these days in some industries. So it's a very good thing to be pushing for the most part. But what I'm mainly trying to say with this is Senku, as shown through, the theme of human knowledge is used straight away with his character. Then the theme of cooperation is used through him and Taiju and all the members they gain. But the main thing is his character, first and foremost, kind of shows humanity's greed. Now, I know I kind of covered this with Ryusei, but I think this is the main thing I want to focus on here. But before we get started, if you want more content like this, make sure you like and subscribe for more videos. And stick around, hopefully, yeah. But yeah, the main focus we see is the positive side of humanity's greed, which is why most of the villains Senku encounters mirror him in some way. Mirror his greed for humanity, his greed in some way. His greed is perceived as a positive form of greed where he just strives to improve on technology more and more. He wants more and more improvement. He wants to improve drastically, get further advancement. But the difference is between him and the main villain of the series so far, I'd say one of the better villains, Dr. Xenon, which is what we're going to focus mainly on 2021 stuff, to be honest, just because that's mainly what I want to talk about, how good it's been in 2021. Dr. Xenon, the whole main plotline was he had the exact same ambitions as Senku, except he wanted to conquer. His greed was he wanted to use his vast knowledge above the primitive humans to conquer them, where Senku wanted to just improve humanity and bring it back to the form it was and give humanity back the control it had centuries ago. But we see that mindset was planted into him early through the next theme that is covered in Senku, which is the idea of passing on a will, or like kind of succession, right? Because we see his father was one of the only survivors due to being in a spaceship when the whole purification happened and all that type of jazz. And we see the first bit of emotion, like a genuine emotion through Senku when he sees his father's grave for the first time, right? But the whole idea was, it's another theme of cooperation in this series, with Senku's dad fully believing that his son will be able to revitalize humanity through his knowledge and finding people who can help him. But the key difference here is is that Senku portrays such the positive sides of humanity, humanity's greed, desire for improvement, you know, want for technology, want for food, just they're wanting for everything, which Ryusei is also a very positive interpretation of that, which I don't know which one interprets that style of that theme better, which one is best for that theme. I would partly say Ryunosuke or Ryunosuke, no, Ryusei. I don't know how you pronounce it, so apologies if I'm getting the name wrong. But Senku, what he does is he does most of the themes that is covered in this series all in one character. We have the theme of leadership through his constant improving in leadership, and the theme of succession through him succeeding his father in a way. And that was even pointed out in the recent chapters with Xenon pointing out, your father was up here, and like how far they've made it. He is the vessel for humanity's improvement. He is in a way humanity's desire to survive, which is what Kohaku is the main character to focus on for that, right? And then desire for improvement and just desire for everything, which Ryusei is also a depiction of. Senku is all that. He's also a depiction of leadership, positive greed. He's a positive depiction of every single trait that humanity has. That is his role in this story. And we see he has no desire to conquer, or he is a conqueror in a way. He did technically conquer the part of Japan he is now in with Ishinami Village, but he is a good ruler, whereas Dr. Xenon didn't want to be. He wanted to rule the world with his superior knowledge and get all the greed. Senku didn't want that. He just wanted the joys of life back and to bring humanity back from the brink of death. The main thing I want to point out with this video, though, although I'm talking about all the themes that Senku embodies, he embodies the main theme of Dr. Stone. As I've repeated in many of these videos, if this is the first one you're watching, though, he proves his main theme is the greatness of humanity and passion. Passion is a major theme in Senku's character, because the passion, when someone feels passion for something, they're all into something. They put so much effort into it, so much care. And he has pure passion for science. There's nothing else he'd rather do. He adores science. And that pure joy that he gets out of it, it just shows, it just really, for someone who hasn't experienced that, if you have never experienced it, personally I have, and I'm sure many of you have, but if you are a bit younger, or if you just haven't been able to experience something so passionate, I think Senku's a great example of being truly passionate about something to the extent where you put your all into it. And I think that is the best thing about humanity, is our desires lead to passions, which leads to such a level of euphoria and joy that we can't understand unless you've experienced it. And I feel like Senku is the character that gets that from science and from technology and learning how to improve it. And I think that's the best part of it, because that is the greatest thing about humanity, is passion. Passion for something. The drive we get from passion. And I feel like Senku is a fantastic way to depict that in this series. And I feel like that's his strongest trait. And that's a generational passion, because we see that in his father as well. And again, it brings us back to the theme of succession, because they learn from each other, and they use each other's advantages to further his passion. As he said in the chapter where he saw his dad's grave, I don't know where I'd be if you didn't give me those building blocks. So it's a very unique take in a way, because I know this might not seem very obvious, but recently, especially modern times in the last decade, we focus more on the negative side of humanity. And I spoke about this in my Kohaku video, but it is something to be said again and again and again, which is that the fact that we have survived and we have invented so many things that have helped so many people and have brought so much joy and have made us have so many passions. How many people do you know that their passion is coding, their passion is robotics, their passion is games, their passion is, software development, their passion is something like swimming or wheelchair basketball, like Paralympic swimming or wheelchair basketball, or something like, I don't know, medicine. There's so many different things. Now, I wanted to talk about specifically things that you could do with advancement, but even you can further do passions even better now with technology. You can do so much. You can learn from so many more people when it comes to your passion for cooking. You have access to such a bigger market if you have a passion for carpentry, plumbing, or anything like that. You have a much bigger market to learn from, and you have a much bigger, or architecture. Imagine if you have a passion for architecture these days. You can now see so many different types of buildings and learn from so many different predecessors that we wouldn't have had access to years ago. Or if you have a passion for art, you can share it across the world. There's something to be said about how our advancements have allowed us to both share our passions and deepen our love and create new passions. And I feel like Dr. Stone is slowly, through the series, showing us, through Senku especially, how great humanity is using the main theme of passion. And as I said before, they do talk about the negative sides of humanity, because obviously we see with Tsukasa in the first major arc of the series, or saga, is that he was abused by adults in the society, by those who thought they were superior than the younger people, and his sister was ill and couldn't be helped. None of humanity's advancements helped his sister at all. And that is a sad thing. That is really sad, because there is certain advancements we don't have right now. But that is the idea. No matter how sad or how depressing things get for humanity, we always push forward. We always keep going, and eventually we find a way to solve things. And I think the best real world example for that is not only the fact with the worst disease, I think, in modern times for people, is probably cancer. Now, you could argue dementia, but cancer, right? And think of the last 10 to 15 years, how it's gone from an almost certain death to a 75% survival rate for the vast majority of cancers. You know what I mean? That, to me, is the biggest example I can use in the real world to show how humanity's improvement and desire to survive and passion for everything has helped humanity in such a good way. Or even for me, right? There's a surgery that can be done on your knees that wasn't around until 5 years after I was born. And that, if I was born any later or any earlier, I wouldn't have had access to this surgery. It was made at the perfect time. People come up with these ideas and find these ideas because they're passionate about it. They've experienced something negative, and they want to turn it into a positive experience for them, or positive for the next generation. And I feel like that is the most important theme in Dr. Stone, and Senku shows that, and shows all the villains that have negative experiences or are negative people. He shows that no matter what humanity does, no matter how bad parts of humanity get, the people it affects will turn that negative experience into a positive one. You know what I mean? And you could say it's a very naive outlook. And I'm sure people who've read the series probably think so. That's probably why it hasn't really taken off into the top 5 of the modern shonen in terms of sales. Because people think it's too naive, because it's too positive. But I think it really does hit a chord with me, because, as I said, I'm one of those people who was helped through my advancement, as I've said in many videos. So I have such a love for life. Like, I don't think you understand. When I got my foot surgery done, for the first time ever, I could dance in my kitchen while making a cup of tea. Like, I could get the milk from the fridge and dance from the fridge to the kettle. Like, that to me was one of the most euphoric experiences I've ever had in my life. And that couldn't have been done if it wasn't for advancements in surgery that allowed my foot to be fixed. You know what I mean? And I couldn't enjoy dancing in that sense, right? So a series that focuses on the idea that no matter what, like, and that, to me, right, obviously I had negative experiences with having a disability and how that affected me, and hopefully I can, and different things that happen in my life, and hopefully I can make it so my family don't have to experience that, and friends I have don't have to experience that, and our descendants, right? But in humanity, what we do is so great, and this series really, really puts that into perspective, is that generationally, and shown again through Senku and his dad, is we improve things every single generation. We turn our negative experiences into positives for the people that come after us. And I think that is a message that I can really get behind with Dr. Stone. It just says that, no matter what happens in humanity, humanity will always bounce back and become a positive once again, because we're just that amazing, right? As a species, as a whole, no matter how much negative stuff we've done, we always bounce back. And that's what makes humanity amazing, because we are able to survive this long. Now, look, I know I went on a big spiel there, and I probably didn't even get my point across. I don't know if I did. Look, it's just I love this series, right? It's a message. The message it spreads, and the message it spreads really resonates with me, because I just love life, right? Life has been so good to me in recent times, and like how much I've been able to live my life because of what improvements humanity has made. Like if I was born even 5 years earlier, I might be bedridden, or 10 years earlier, or like 15 years earlier. God, if I was born in my parents' time, I would be dead by now. I'm not gonna lie. So having a piece of media like this that depicts the positives of humanity's advancement and isn't always talking about how bad of a species we are, like most media are these days, it really hits home with me. And I think there's no better protagonist to be the helm and the main protagonist of this series than Senku. You know what I mean? I think he's a very good protagonist, and I think this series wouldn't be the same without him. With that being said, thanks for watching. And if you did like this stuff, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.